Coming off of this stage the first night in Atlanta, I felt like I had completed my assignment and I had no idea if I had time to do my homework before the next test the next night. I was really excited that it felt like I had a message and a mandate that was resonating with the women in the room, but it was so highly charged that I wasn't sure, like, where do we go from here? What is the rest of the tour stops going to be like after this? And so I felt amazed that God showed up as strongly as God did the first night, but also a little bit like, I don't even know if she got this for the rest of the tour nights. Luckily, God continued to come through, but it was, I didn't know.
We love you, Sarah. See you tonight, cousin. Here we go.
Bueno.
Bueno, bueno, bueno. All right, we're here in Columbus. It's time to go.
Funny meeting you here.
Gosh, Carter's touch, not Carter's touch.
The experience of setting up every night was, I think it kind of just varies from city to city, but I enjoy getting to like meet the new volunteers.
Absolutely.
We are pretty familiar with a lot of the venues, but you know, it's just, I feel like it helps your personal skills a lot. So it could be a little hectic. There are some days where, you know, we will be setting up 30 minutes before showtime. Yeah. Is what it is. You kind of have to roll with the punches, but it's a lot of fun.
No one left behind. Revolution Tour 2022. We got you.
I remember Isaiah, Malachi, Danielle, and myself, who all were helping with like the store and like the kind of pop-up things that we were doing there. We had to figure out literally how to get from this one floor to another floor to the selling area. And it was very much so giving maze. It was very much so giving building built in 19, whatever year, had a manual elevator thing, just all the things that when you are responsible for like load in, which that was a word that has new meaning, it's giving wow, and it was hilarious because Malachi went before us to make every crooked path straight. And when I tell you, his narration of how complex that situation was hilarious. And it was very much so every bit of that complex that he described.
You have to pull down the door, and you have to, first you have to find it. So you find the elevator, you have to go where the elevator is, you have to use the crank to pull it up. Then you have to open the thing, and then open the gate, and then push the card in, and then you have to go down to the kitchen, and then you open the kitchen door, and then you go to the kitchen and take another elevator, and you take the elevator up to our lobby, and then take the lobby to the theater.
That sounds terrible. Sounds terrible.
Usually we get up at around 7:30 in the morning, and we'll get up and we'll it depends on also the team we have. Back in the day, in the beginning of the tour, it was like basically me and Isaiah unloading, selling, packing up, and then putting it back together, which would be like 7 to 1 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Easy.
But now that our volunteers have been so kind as to kind of help us pack up our stuff right now, we can get out there by like 12 usually. So about like 7 to 12, and that hour difference may not seem like a lot.
Oh,
but
it makes a world of a difference.
God, we thank you so much for what we get to do again tonight. We receive your peace. We receive your strength. We receive the window that will allow us to tap into the best of who we are, the best of our gifts, the best of our anointing, God. This is our offering.
Do whatever the Spirit leads you to.
Halfway on the seat.
There are women in this room who have taken on the identity of their issues. And while you have been praying that God would make the issue stop, if God just stopped there,
you would still stay hidden in plain sight.
We really only have two needs as human beings: safety and connection. That's all we need. Our bodies were literally created by God to function and thrive when we have safety, physically, but also emotionally, and when we are connected.
Part of this woman's identity has been connected to her issues. Give you some history. At that time, when a woman had a flow of blood like she had, she was supposed to stay at home. She wasn't supposed to touch anybody. She was supposed to stay hidden in plain sight. So the mere fact that she was outside of the house meant that she was trying to move in such a way that she stayed hidden. But even when she got healed, she stayed hidden. Because your issues could stop today, but it cannot change the identity that your issues projected onto you. So while she sees the window of opportunity to be healed, Jesus seizes that opportunity, the window of opportunity, to change her identity. It is important to Jesus in this moment that she not be married to the identity that her issues projected onto her.
We are 2 days down. It has been absolutely amazing. I am exhausted only because how powerful each night has been. You would think it's like the finale, but to think we literally have several more shows left, it's crazy. I don't know how we go higher, but some way, somehow, SJR always takes us higher. The band's been killing, the worship team has been killing, and we are on our way to Philadelphia. It's about to be crazy.
It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. And when I'm in my battle, I can feel you here, you here. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you.
And I'm thankful that as God uses us, that He restores us, that He fills us back up enough to show up for the next night, and then we leave empty and He fills us up again. And I hope we remember that even outside of this tour and this moment, that we serve a God of refills.
We're going from city to city. We're singing the same songs typically. The message, although there is some flexibility, some fluidity in the message is going to be the same. And it's easy to get into a rhythm and kind of think that I've done this already, so all I have to do is kind of just show up. And it really isn't. This is a different city. There are different issues, different spiritual principalities in those cities. Each city has its own nuance, and it's really important to me that we're present in the moment, that we're not trying to put old wine in new wineskins, that will bring our heart, our passion, our spiritual sensitivities, and our sense of mission to the moment. And I think I can't think of a better way to do that than to take a few moments and to surrender afresh and to make ourselves available to God for what He wants to do in this particular city with these particular people in that particular moment.
Table that you prepared for me, all in the presence of my enemies. Oh, it's your body and your blood you shed for me. This is how I fight my battle.
Not everywhere has the worship like this. The Women Evolve worship team, they bring the heat. Literally, it's next level.
I think that the cool thing about being on the worship team is that that's kind of like the first breakthrough spiritual encounter that they have. So, we have our pre-show, which Kayla does, and she's amazing, and she's there to kind of get the crowd hype. And then we come in and we lead worship, and that's kind of that first moment where we're, inviting the presence of God into the room. Obviously, we've prayed before, but this is the first time we get to do it in a corporate way. And so there's just this hunger that you feel. Like when you're on stage, you just feel like they're pulling something out of you. They're tugging something from you, and it's a really deep spiritual. It's the highest honor, honestly, to be able to know that in this moment, you're pouring into somebody, and it could be a moment that could. You want to go the deepest level, like literally prevent somebody from taking their life, or, prevent somebody from, making a drastic, crazy decision that could alter the course of their life. So it is a responsibility that we don't take lightly, and just being able to partner, because when I see their hunger, I'm coming in hungry, but when I see their hunger, it makes me even hungrier. And then there's this just collaborative moment where we are, we're crying out to God.
Being able to set the atmosphere is such an honor and a privilege. Like, I'm always so grateful that I was even chosen to be a part of setting that atmosphere. But I think looking out and seeing the women like open up their hearts and just like receive, and just seeing God's presence like fall into their room, and seeing women that came in looking one way, and then as we progress and as we continue to sing and worship, like just seeing them kind of like open up, maybe they put their hands up or whatever, just seeing that kind of like shift from when they first got in there to when we're in the middle of worship, like it is such a beautiful thing, and it just feels like we're all in there together. I know we're on the stage and they're sitting down, but it just feels like we're one bit. It's like we're all just in it together, just worshiping. It's an amazing experience.
I'm looking forward to what God's going to do in this second half. We were just talking about how by now we feel like we should have had a rhythm, but it feels like every night requires something different, something new, and I like that. It's stressful because I'd rather just get up there and get in the pocket, but there's a dependency on God that it creates, and an expectation, because we just don't know who's coming in the room and what part of our anointing God has assigned to their breakthrough.
It kind of slapped me in the face, and now I'm like, oh my God, do I have COVID? Does this person have COVID? So it's kind of just like, I'm in a confused, like, I don't know how to feel. I'm not sure how to feel, so I'm not going to be fake about it.
How did you feel when you had to leave the tour?